when I moved from corporate to tech world, I go to work, do the thing that people tell you to, go home. Eventually, my role got made redundant. In that period, I remember the first thing I did was try to look for another job. And then my dad pulled me aside and said, "What are you doing? What you're doing now doesn't seem right."
On today's episode of the All Business Baby podcast, I'm speaking to Christine from Rider SZN.
Because I spent so much time trying to perfect the item and making sure it's good and being confident that I would pay this price for it, that it kind of just sold itself.
Christine, thank you for joining me on the All Business Baby podcast. I just wanted to start off by asking you a little bit about yourself and what business you run.
My name's Christine. I have a business called Rider SZN and I focus on motorcycle apparel.
And when you say motorcycle apparel, are you selling a range of things or just a few items?
So at the moment, it's just two main items. So I started off doing balaclavas, which was something I created out of wanting to find something that suited my own needs and couldn't find something. And now I do hoodies, but I'm looking to expand this range over the next year or so. So there are couple other products that are currently prototyping on the way. And hopefully they'll be released at the end of the year.
Nice. Would you be looking to create a new helmet? Because I know you've got a bit of helmet mark in your forehead at the moment.
Oh my God, no. Helmets are like a whole other ball game. But yeah, I rode here. So if there's an indentation in my forehead, that is because of my helmet. I did ask if we could just like wait until it like deflates, but it's taking some time.
I'm just joking with you. All right, well, you started this motorcycle business and you ride motorcycles. You know, how did you get into this sort of industry or motorbikes?
I get this question quite a lot, and it's funny because I don't really have a good answer. Usually there's a turning point for someone where they're like, oh, like I saw someone ride and I wanted to do it, or I met someone. Whereas for me, like I think it was always in me. So I went for my license before I was 18 and failed. And then I think one of my friends, like I just, was pretty taken aback by that whole experience. It wasn't the best
thing.
No, it was just the environment. It was a bit like, I'm going to be honest, like it was a bit seedy at the time.
Okay.
So I felt like uncomfortable coming back. But then when I was a little bit older, someone said that they were getting their license and it was a friend of mine. I was like, you know what, I'm going to go for it again. And so I did. Now it's kind of my whole
It's your life now.
Yeah.
When you say seedy though, what do you mean by that? Was it just a lot of perverted men or like?
Yeah, it was just a bit creepy. Yeah, it was uncomfortable.
In the motorcycle scene or in the
testing environment. Yeah. So this was a while ago now. So like,
that would have put you off.
Yeah. And I was like a little like 17, 18-year-old. So
that's obviously scary times.
Yeah.
Well, that's passed. You've done the test. You've got your license. You're now a rider, right?
Yeah.
Before we get into the motorcycle business, what were you actually doing with your life? And let's talk about that a little bit.
So I did everything that, in the books was the right thing to do. I went to school, I went to uni, I got a graduate job, got a really good job. And then the whole time I just never felt like it fit me. So ever since I was a kid, I was always like creating something. And I loved playing, I think my favorite game was Shops. I don't know, this was when I was like 8 years old. But when I was, I think 8 or 10 years old, my friend reminded me of this actually. Like I was selling pencil cases in primary school and I kind of like took over the whole grade in pencil cases. Right. Females anyway. Yeah, and then I think ever since then I was like always wanting to create things, whether that be videos, images, like graphics, or just stuff. Yeah.
So you had a bit of a creative mindset or hidden inside you.
Yeah, and then when I went into the corporate world, like I always lent towards like strategic type teams. That's eventually where I ended up having my career. So my profession is like corporate strategy, business strategy.
So by day, you're in corporate, by night, you're out there riding bikes.
Bikes came a bit later, but I always loved any project in the corporate scene where we could innovate and create new things. Like that was something I was always passionate about, but eventually that environment of where I was didn't really nurture that. And being someone so junior that wanted to do these big things, it just,
Did it make sense?
And then I kind of just like puddled away. Like I had an amazing team. I'm not going to say that I didn't. I had an amazing team. I had an amazing boss that like was very supportive of what I wanted to do outside of work. And eventually I made the decision to move back into like tech startups. So I actually co-founded one when I was 21 and didn't go ahead with it because...
What was that?
It was with a team actually. It was a business called Rider SZN, and it was a condition reporting platform for car rental businesses. The idea was you'd just use augmented reality and scan your car. Anyway, that dream died really quickly because I realized as soon as I started talking to car rental people when I was 21.
They weren't taking you serious?
Yeah, and it was just not my vibe.
Who's this random girl
and
trying to talk to me?
You know, not my vibe. They clearly saw that me as a threat and didn't want to cooperate with me. Some businesses did actually, some were good, but I quickly realized that car rental industry was not for me, especially as a 21-year-old who has never rented a car before. So
you probably need to do that first before running a rental business.
So that dream died quickly, and I just went into corporate.
And so you stayed in corporate, and then I know, you know, following your journey for some time now, you started Rider SZN. Maybe was it almost 2 years ago now?
It probably started closer to 3 years ago as a concept, but since, like, you know how I said, I was always in that environment that didn't really nurture being creative. It was just go to work. Go to work, do the thing that people tell you to, go home. Eventually, go home and just watch TV. Eventually, I started to get, and I'm a really big believer in this, like, I started to get really sick out of nowhere. Like, I was always really fatigued. I was, like, feeling really unwell whenever I was like catching public transport to and from. And then eventually I was like, something's not sitting right. And I think it was actually my dad that pulled me aside and he was like, what are you doing? So I'm very grateful for him. He said,
he saw that just...
Yeah, he was just like, I know what you were like as a kid. I know like what like brings you energy.
Oh, that's nice.
What you're doing now is not like, this doesn't seem right. And I'm not saying that, you know, doing this kind of work is bad or anything. It just didn't suit me and what makes me like...
That's very nice of your dad.
Going back to the story, if this is anything interesting, it might be insightful for some people. When I moved from corporate to tech world, because I thought it would be a better environment for me there, which it was for... It had its benefits. I eventually got made redundant. My role got made redundant. I think 20% of the corporation got made redundant.
Is there a reason for that?
It was when interest rates went up really high and lending became really expensive. So obviously they couldn't take on the debt and things just got really expensive. So they had to cut. This was a couple of years ago when that big tech sector just went, I was part of that. In that period, I remember the first thing I did was try to look for another job. And then my dad again pulled me aside and said, what are you doing? He was like, take this time off and figure it out because he just knew that wasn't the thing.
Damn, what a good dad. Other dads would have just said, suck it up and, get going.
Going back to what I say when I felt that it wasn't right, like, you know, how I was getting like, I was feeling sick. Even doing the interviews and reading all the interview questions and reading them like, why are you passionate about this?
I am not passionate.
And I just wasn't. And I'm someone that's so honest. So reading those questions and trying to make up a reason why I was passionate about some sort of technology company that's making this product that I don't really care that much about, but I just wanted to be a part of it.
Just want to get paid.
Yeah. Well, actually, I wanted to like help them grow, but at the end of the day, it just didn't seem right with me. So I think I spent like almost 6 months just not doing anything. And that's when I turned to writing and I got deeper into writing. And I think I loved the adrenaline. I loved meeting so many different people from so many different backgrounds. Like before, my world was just this bubble of corporates, professionals. And I was meeting... race. And then just meeting like a bunch of other people who are doing random things with their lives. Like maybe they're concreting, but then they like have their own business. It's kind of cool.
Different people from different parts of the world.
Bikes really opened that up for me.
Well, that's deep, right? So then you went through that dark time and bikes was kind of the thing that took you out of it.
Yeah, it was really funny though. Like luckily what I was doing before, like I got, you know, I could afford to like keep myself going and still enjoy things.
You could stay alive.
I could stay alive and I could go have fun. I remember like I was riding so much. Like I went to Phillip Island, which is down in Melbourne, rode the tracks there and people were like, what are you doing? How do you afford all this? Like how do you have all this time? I'm just like, I'm unemployed.
That's the Mecca,
Jokes
right?
on you guys.
Phillip Island, that's the Mecca for bikes, isn't it?
Yeah. It's a fun track.
Oh, that's good. So at least you got to live that out a bit.
Yeah.
I guess you went through that. You turned to biking, and at what point did you say, I'm going to do something in biking, or was there a point in time where you thought, I might go back to the corporate world?
There's a bit of back and forth in my journey. In that period, I was like, when I realized that this was really exciting to me, that's when I made the decision, like, okay, Christine, this idea that you've had, that you've tested and you've played around with, if you're not going to do it now, you're never going to do it.
Yes.
And I sat there, like, there was a period where I talked to myself in the mirror, like, every day for half an hour. I kid you not. It sounds crazy, but I really needed to talk some sense into myself. And I said to myself, if I didn't do this now, and in 2 years, because it might take me 2 years, I will look back and I don't have it. How would I feel? And I just knew, like, I needed to make the decision there. Like, if it was for me, it was for like my dad, that he saw that in me.
Yeah, so that's nice.
Made that decision, but the hard thing was because I was living my life and with e-commerce businesses and making clothes manufacturing, it does take quite a bit of capital. I needed to, like, find a way to fund that. So luckily my old boss, who I had really good connections with from my corporate
good
world,
relationships.
she reached out and just offered me a contracting gig, which, they're really sweet.
That helps, right?
What actually happened was I took on this job and then I was working full time and building up the brand all over again. So it was a lot of hours for me. So that 6 months break was like a clarity thing that I needed. A reset. And
mental reset,
And then when I started working in corporate again as a contractor, that was just purely to fuel this idea.
That's right. So, I mean, you're pretty much 100% all in on this.
And all in on
Rider SZN. Oh, that's good. Knowing your business in a bit more detail, I know seeing other e-commerce businesses, they've got a lot of, say, different products that they're selling. I find that they are spending quite a lot of money on marketing, like ads and maybe influencer marketing. With your business, I know there's only like 1 or 2 items, and that's been going pretty well too. Where did you come up with these items? Did you design it yourself? And why do you think it's so successful?
I would say success is like, I'm not going to say it's like uber successful yet. I'm still early days. But I have sold out quite a few times. I've sold out a few drops, which
not successful, but sold out.
A few times. I think like that means it's doing well. That's a valid. It's a validation point.
Right,
like people want it and I'm doing something right. With me, I've always taken a problem solving approach to everything. So it was more important to me to create something that one, I could stand by and back and have full faith in, like, and attach a dollar amount that I would be happy to pay it again for that product. So for me, I created 2 products. The first one is a balaclava. The second is an armored hoodie, which launched sometime early mid this year or Q2 this year. The focus was to just make sure that everything that I could want in these 2 items was there. And they worked well and they did exactly what they had to do. So the balaclava actually took 2 years, I think.
To design?
Yeah, but there was a lot of like those manufacturers that didn't want to comply and were like really hard to work with, and refinding another manufacturer all over again. Yes, it took a long time. And then testing. The testing period, I needed to test over a full year through all 4 seasons to know that it worked.
Did you personally test them, put them on and...
Me and a girl that like works with me. Like she's just supporting at the moment, but hopefully we can bring her.
Working for free.
She gets stuff she loves it. Like she's the best. So she's been testing it. I've just given a bunch to other people to test as well for feedback, and all the feedback was really positive initially, and I was a bit suspicious. I'm like, what are you not telling me?
But you want some negative constructive feedback.
So what's going on? Like, why is no
one telling me? Can't be this perfect.
I'm just like, it's still
still going well. What does it do? Is it aesthetic?
So the balaclavas are usually, there's a multiple number of reasons why people would use them. For me, if I wear makeup, I don't want to get makeup into my helmet because one, that's gross.
True.
And it's cleaning helmet padding is just really hard.
Annoying. I bet.
Because if you have to wait for them to dry, and then the next day, like it's wet.
Just don't wear makeup.
Yeah, but like if I'm going to be on camera, there's that reason. It regulates like sweating, so it's moisture wicking. For people that wear earrings and have earphones.
It's unisex, right?
Yeah, it's unisex. So people who have earrings or wear like earphones, it tends to get caught on the helmet. So having a balaclava lets the helmet just slide over it.
Yep.
It's another reason. Some other people have like sensory issues, which I didn't know about, that they don't like their hair or like certain parts of the helmet touching them.
Yeah,
so
right.
like they're really sensitive to that. Yeah, there's so many reasons. Eczema. I have one of my customers that I've spoken to. She has eczema. She's like, this is the only thing that makes it comfortable for me. So
nice. It's for everyone.
Yeah, that anyone who wants to use it. So the second product is an armored hoodie, which is something that I've always wanted to do. The way that I was dressing and then riding and then like going to cafes and then I'd look at myself, I'm like, that's not me. Yeah, it didn't match. And I was like, I'm a big believer in you're the best version of you when you're comfortable.
Yeah.
And I was like constantly fiddling with what I was
Trackies
wearing.
and hoodies are the way to go.
Yeah, so it wasn't my style. So I just created something that like I like to wear, and I didn't realize that a lot of people really liked it too.
Because usually you've got to wear those leather jackets. Is that right?
Yeah. Well, there's textile, there's leather, there's a bunch of different types, but the thing that I've created really was just something that I think I wanted to wear.
Yeah. Would you say your one is the coolest out in the market at the moment?
No, I wouldn't say it's the coolest. I think there's a lot of like really good products and everyone has a different style. So there's something that suits everyone. Like I know my product 100% won't suit everyone. People like I've gotten feedback like, oh my God, what is this? Like why does it look like that? It's so I'm like, okay, so if it's ugly, don't buy it.
Is it, do you find your customers are mainly female or male?
I initially thought that I'll have a lot more female customers because one, I'm female. Like I do motorcycle content as well.
Yep.
Not as much now as I did a year ago, but like
because I focus on the wheelies and stuff like that.
Attempted. I can't wheelie. That was a stab to the ego, but
Can you do any tricks?
No.
Surely you can.
No, I can spin my bike on a kickstand if it's a light bike.
Right.
Yeah, I can't really do tricks. Yeah, I thought initially it was going to be a lot more females, but the space is predominantly dominated by males, they found the brand somehow. They love it. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, the ones that have it anyway.
Yeah. You know, what would you say has been the driving force to all the sales? Is it the marketing efforts? What efforts?
Honestly, I don't spend that much in marketing. I think I've done ads before, and I had a couple guys help me set that all up, which was really good for accessing a new audience for the balaclavas. So it worked really well for the lower ticket item, but not so much the high ticket item. It did work, but not as well, I would say.
Takes a bit more selling.
Yeah, because it is expensive.
Yeah, of course.
I think, honestly, because I spent so much time trying to perfect the item and making sure it's good and being confident that I would pay this price for it, that it kind of just sold itself. So I had 2 pop-up stores recently, and it was so funny because at one of them, my customers, who are like, some of them are now my friends, were selling for me when I was busy.
Well, how
so
good's
I'll
that?
turn around, I'll send a photo, and I could just see like my friend's boyfriend be like talking to some random guy about this hoodie, and they're like, oh, you have to say. It's like, no, I'm a customer, like I own this. And when I had one guy from Brisbane, he came down to this bike night, and I was talking to one person and he saw someone looking at some of the stuff that I was coming out with, and he just walked over and started talking about it. I was just like, what the heck? Man. I think the success, or the reason why it is where it is today, is because I spent so much time perfecting it. And my the girl who I work with, she's also like helped me revalidate everything. We're so confident in it that everyone who's bought it just tells their friends.
Yeah. Everyone's just advocating for the product because it's so good.
Yeah.
The look in your face goes, I can't believe it myself.
Like it was actually so surprising to see. If anything I'm really proud of, it's that. I think I've also built a really healthy community. So I talk to everyone who like messages the page. And just try to be like part of create an actual community within the brand. Sometimes
you just got to pat yourself on the back and go, I did a good job.
Yeah, one day, not yet. Still a lot more work to do.
Okay. So really no marketing, but you'd say the reason for the success has been the time and effort you've put into the design and actually crafting a perfect product almost.
Yeah.
You know, your first year or so, did you find any challenges running this business that you could share with the audience and what you would do differently?
So it hasn't been a year since we've officially launched.
Not even,
No, it hasn't been a year. I think I did a soft launch like online of the balaclavas September last year. So it's coming up to a year. the challenges.
But I mean, like, before that part, you were doing a lot of designing and thinking and, you know.
I think there's a few things. I think, one, there were times where I needed to just call stop on how far I can perfect a thing. It needs to, like, you can only make something, like, you can only take something so far before it gets overcooked, you know?
Yeah.
So I think I was very fortunate to have the girl that I work with. Her name is Rider.
Yeah.
Hi, Rider, if you
Go
see
Rider.
this. Yeah, you are MVP. I had Rider there to kind of be the sounding board whenever like I couldn't see something, so she would pick up on it, and then we'd take out to do 2 different groups and test. So she would test with her circle, I'd test with my circle, who were different. So I think having someone like as a sounding board, if you can, is so valuable, but you need to also make sure that they are completely aligned with the vision and where you want to take it.
Of course,
because you can give something to your friends, but they'll tell you what they think you want to hear sometimes. It's like, I need you to tell me, like,
tell me it's shit.
And also not to take anything too personally. Because at the end of the day, if you have a friend that can tell you, hey, I don't think I would pay for this reason, that's going to literally save you from spending thousands and thousands of dollars into something that people don't want. So
did that ever happen to you?
Not yet. So they've told me that they didn't like features and that things could be better and they prefer things, and that has ultimately shaped what the product is.
That's good. And so with your upcoming collection, what else are you looking to drop?
We got a bag coming on the way. It was actually showcased at the 2 pop-up stores that we had.
Nice.
So hopefully getting some more feedback and refining the design. But
what bag is it? Like a backpack?
No, it's a leg bag that can be worn crossbody, so you can wear it 2 ways. Because I don't actually have a leg bag at the moment, and the ones on the market, it's like, doesn't really fit what I need. Like they're either too big or too small. And also,
what's a leg bag? Is that gets wrapped down around your leg? Yeah,
so it's got a waistband and then a leg band. Okay. But I've created it so you can actually switch those bands around, and if you want to wear it crossbody, you can. Okay,
so then it's still unisex, because I can't picture a guy doing that, wearing it on their thighs. Do they do that?
Yeah.
Okay. Them. Goes to show I'm not in the motorcycling world, so I've got no idea.
I can be a link to it.
Okay.
Right, so that's something that's coming, and we're working on some like jackets and hoodies for the warmer seasons, because the ones that I've created currently are really good for when it's cold.
So you need something that's more breathable.
Yeah,
okay.
So those are active works in progress.
No, that's good. All right, well, look, before we wrap up, I wanted to share, or not to share, but I wanted you to share, you know, like you've started this business, and you've done other businesses as well, but you know, you're doing this, you know, why are you doing this?
I think I just love making things. Like there's nothing more to it. I love creating. I love seeing ideas come into reality. So like I have Rider SZN, but I also work on other things as well, and I love helping people try to like make this idea that's in their head become reality. So like I've worked on a car show that was once an idea and helping that grow as well. And other people who've like just told me their business ideas, I'm like, just do it, man. Like, what regret will you have?
That's right.
You've got one life, man. Make the most of it.
No, I hear you. So definitely have a crack if you have been thinking about it, and if not, you know, the worst case scenario is not that bad at all.
No, it never is. The worst case scenario is looking back and thinking, what if?
You know, that's deep. I wouldn't want to do that. So no, thanks for that, Christine. Thanks for coming on the pod and sharing your story. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Cool.
So if you're about to begin your business journey, or you're currently going through your business journey, tune into future episodes so that you can learn more and find a supportive community. Otherwise, follow me on LinkedIn for more.